Imagine dropping off your toddler to daycare and when you go to pick them up, they are no longer alive and you realize that this was no accident. This is 3-year-old Conrad Ashcraft, a nonverbal autistic child who attended Poppy's Playhouse Daycare in Park Hills, Missouri. And on Friday, May 16th, his mother went to go pick him up like any other day. She was told he was taking his midday nap, and when she got there, he was face down on the floor covered by a weighted blanket. But when she went to turn him around, he was cold, stiff, and no longer breathing, and his skin color was a dark purple, indicating he was already deceased for several hours. The family later found out that there's an employee at that daycare known for holding children down when they don't want to go to sleep. And if that's not bad enough, other kids at the daycare told their parents that Conrad was in trouble that day for not wanting to go to sleep, and that staff workers would sit on him and hold him down with his legs until he stopped moving. This is the owner of the daycare, Spring Gray, who was known to downplay concerns of the parents and justify the actions of her workers. There has been no criminal charges and the daycare has since reopened. Rest in peace to Conrad. Let me know what you guys think, and as the investigation continues, I'll keep you guys updated.
These are scary games to play in real life, part 1. This game is called the Picture Game, and it's a paranormal game that allows you to take pictures of ghosts. To play the game, you will need at least 2 people and a phone with a flash. Then find an empty room and sit directly across from each other. Then turn off the lights and hold hands and say, "I trust you," to each other. Now say, "The door is open, please come in," 3 times at the same time. Now open your eyes. Whatever wanted to come into the room is now in there. Now each of you grab your phone and take a picture of each other while saying, "I caught you." Now do this 3 times each. Now both of you close your eyes again and say, "It's time to go home." Turn on the lights and then look at the photos you guys took of each other. One of you would then see a ghost standing behind you, and the other one won't, but the person that has the ghost behind them will experience paranormal activity for at least a week. Now the ghost won't harm you at all, but it would do its best to completely terrify you. So are you playing this game? Because I'm definitely not.
This boy was shot by an officer while he ate McDonald's in his car. On October 2nd at 10:45 p.m., a police officer named James Brennan approached a vehicle that was parked at a McDonald's in San Antonio. The officer believed that the car belonged to the person who fled from him the night before during a traffic stop.
I got a vehicle over here that fled from me the other day. It's in the parking lot. Get out of the car. What?
So, did you see how the officer opened Eric's car door without any heads up at all? I think anyone would panic in that moment. So when he opened the door, Eric reversed his car, hitting the officer with his car door. So then the officer proceeds to open fire on Eric as he drives away. By the way, you can find this video on YouTube. Eric was unarmed but was shot multiple times and was on life support. The police chief did say that James' actions were unjustified and that there is a policy that prohibits officers from shooting at parked or moving vehicles except if their life or someone else's life is in immediate danger. I just don't think it was necessary to do all that, but James was arrested and charged with 2 counts of aggravated assault.
Somebody's watching me, it's my anxiety.
If anything, that should make you less afraid of sharks. It's like people being afraid of being judged at the gym until you go and realize that everyone's just worried about themselves. You should be worried about Satan's goldfish. The devil's guppy's built like a practical joke from nature in the year 2025. Poseidon's punishment is armed with a powerful neurotoxin that shuts your body down from the inside, delivered through several spines that can easily pierce through shoes. And if you don't seek medical attention fast enough, the poison will destroy tissues in the body, causing uncontrollable shaking, twitching, and eventually full-blown paralysis. The endgame is it getting harder and harder to breathe until you eventually black out and flatline. That happened before you get back on land and the ocean becomes an accomplice. Survivors have compared the pain of being swung as similar to being swung on by a sledgehammer. repeatedly. But the real problem with this Antichrist kidney stone is the stonefish looks like a stone, making it almost impossible for you to see it first. Which means the sentient sea mime goes out of its way to hide from sight just to punish your lack of perception. Now that's actual gaslight. And the harder you step, the more poison gets pumped into you. The real F-free about this fish is outside of humans, nothing in the ocean runs the risk of stepping on this fish. It's a gift-wrapped flaming turd in a brown paper bag addressed only to humanity. Fun fact, if this was cartoon Steve Irwin, then a stonefish was nearly his stingray. But at least stingrays are anxiety placemats with a trigger. I will not be defending this deep sea hemorrhoid until I can find all four in this picture. I'm still looking. Also, they can survive 24 hours out of water, the more you know.
Here are some stories about money that will change the way you see the world. There was a man from New Jersey who spent $5 on orange juice, but his wife made him return it because it was half price somewhere else. With the refunded money, he bought 2 lottery tickets and won $315 million. This man in India spent approximately $240,000 on a 22-karat gold shirt made from 14,000 pieces of gold. An Australian man once listed the entire country of New Zealand for sale on eBay. The bidding hit $3,000 before it got shut down. There was a man who spent $15,000 on a hyper-realistic dog costume so he could live as a border collie. The creator of Ethereum was approached by Google for a job offer that paid an intern-level salary after he was already a crypto millionaire. A man bought the domain name pizza.com for $20 and then later sold it for $2.6 million. A man bought a storage unit for $500 and found $7.5 million in cash hidden inside. Man, some people are just so freaking lucky.
Horror games based on true events. Part 1. Granny. Granny's a video game where you're trapped inside of a house. You have 5 to 6 days to figure out these puzzles and get your way out. The game is loosely based off of the Granny Ripper, who documented her unalivings dating 20 years back. No one truly knows how many people she did unalive, but let's just say it was a lot.
She stabbed her boyfriend in the eye with needles because he was looking at other women. So this happened in Florida, where 44-year-old Sandra Jimenez lost it after her and her boyfriend of 8 years were arguing about him looking at other women. But on this specific Saturday night, when the couple arrived home, Sandra attacked him when he went to lay down. She allegedly jumped on top of him with 2 syringes in her hand and jabbed him in the eye. And apparently these needles were meant to vaccinate their dogs against rabies. Sandra was then found sleeping in her car and was arrested and charged with felony aggravated battery. Can we start normalizing breaking up with our partners instead of trying to kill them?
Morbid facts that will give you nightmares. When a prisoner is electrocuted in an electric chair, they can feel absolutely everything. They are fully aware that their body is being fried in real time, and one prisoner that survived said he actually smelled and tasted like cold peanut butter. Human corpses decompose 4 times faster in water than underground, and 8 times faster if left in the open air. It takes around 359 humans to have enough iron to forge a sword from their blood. Just about 3,000 people go missing every single year in the US. The last execution by guillotine was in 1977 in France. That was exactly the same year that the first Star Wars movie came out.
Horror games that were based on real people.
The Evil Nun. The Evil Nun is based off of a Greek woman named Marina Soulakio II, or Mother Asputin. She was a Greek Old Calendarist Eastern Orthodox abbess and serial killer who was found guilty of numerous counts of murder, fraud, and other crimes. She had a kill count of about 177 people. She was the leader of a terrifying cult that looked for rich women, looking for ways to be in touch with the Lord and lured them in. She'd torture them out of everything they had. Then she ended them. She owned 300 houses in Greece alone. When the police were finally notified by a victim's daughter, they raided her monastery and found malnourished old women chained inside in a tuberculosis-infested basement. She was literally an evil nun. See the gameplay, which displays her crime. What character should I talk about next?
The supposed time traveler from 2671 has warned us again about these following dates. Make sure to favorite this video so we can keep track of these dates and find out if they were right. Up first, we have January 16th, starting 2023 off strong. The first human's DNA is genetically enhanced and manipulated, allowing the human to live longer, increase their strength, and produce more intelligent descendants. And this will then bring us to 2054, where every human will be genetically modified, including you. Next up, we have 2024. Donald Trump will get elected as president, beating Kamala Harris by 67%. The time traveler says that throughout the next decade, massive storms known as world breakers will happen all across the world. And finally, in 2029, alien creatures known as the Xenu will visit Earth. Do you think any of these will actually come true? Yo, Elon!
Some games are meant to be fun, but this one was never meant to be played. This game is called the Midnight Game. It's about summoning something that you cannot uninvite. The ritual starts at exactly midnight. You write your full name on a piece of paper, prick your finger, and let the red liquid drop. By red liquid, you know what I mean. You then place it at your door and knock 22 times. The final knock must strike while the clock turns at 12. Congratulations, you have just invited the Midnight Man to your home. Your only task is to survive till 3:33 a.m. Keep a candle lit with you. If it blows out, he's there. You have about 10 seconds to relight your candle. Some people say you feel chills and hear a whisper. You feel like someone is breathing down your neck, but whatever you do, do not look at him. If you fail, the Midnight Man shows you your worst fear. And some people say that you cannot wake up. So are you brave enough to play and smart enough to survive? Let me know in the comments if you've ever played this game, if you plan to, or if you're simply just here to know what's up.
Let me tell you some crazy history you didn't learn in school. George Iser won 6 Olympic gold medals in 1904 with a wooden leg in one day. This is a record he still holds today, and it wasn't even until 2008 when another person competed with an artificial leg. This was actually a sailor's formal request for a leave of absence, and it says, "My wife is planning on getting pregnant this weekend, and I would sure like to be there when it happens." Napoleon was once attacked by a horde of bunnies. This was during a hunting trip when his men bought too many and released them all at once. President Andrew Jackson taught his parrot to swear, and he had to be removed from Jackson's funeral. This is what a men's beauty contest looked like in Central Europe in the early 1900s. Raffaello Monti was an Italian sculptor who carved veils from marble that literally looked transparent. Stores created layaway during the Great Depression, and it was popular until credit cards became a thing in the 1980s.
These are facts that will make your skin crawl, part 1. Up first, did you know that women can actually give birth after death? It's extremely rare, but it's called coffin birth. Up next, everybody has definitely heard of the 5-second rule and probably applied it in your life at least once. But did you know in those 5 seconds, minor insects can still crawl on your food after you drop it on the floor, pick it up, and then eat it? Up next, if a black cat looks at you and then suddenly runs away, it means that something unusual is about to happen to you. So if this happened to you recently, then I recommend just staying in your room and not leaving. Finally, did you know that a cockroach can live 9 days without its head before it starves to death? This is absolutely crazy, and as weird as this sounds, I have to see it to believe it.
Nobody can convince me that the platypus is not a science experiment. It's like a duck, beaver, otter hybrid. It's also a mammal that lays eggs. It's also venomous, which is weird for a mammal, and its venom is found in its back legs. It just kicks you to envenomate you. It also doesn't have teeth, so it uses rocks to chew up its food. And I don't know where its food goes, because it also doesn't have a stomach. It also doesn't have nipples, but it gives off milk. It just kind of leaks out of its armpits. It's also an aquatic creature that doesn't have senses in water. It goes blind and deaf when it jumps in water. But that's cool because it can connect to the electromagnetic field. It can sense electrical pulses in other creatures' bodies. What?
Horrifying facts you haven't knew.
In 1988, Iranian man Mehran Karimi Nasseri was traveling to the UK with his briefcase containing essential refugee documents, was stolen from him at a Paris train station. Unable to prove his identity to British immigration officials, Nasseri was returned to France and found himself completely stranded in Terminal 1 of Paris's main airport. He remained there for an astonishing 18 years, during which he became a fixture in the terminal, residing on a red bench surrounded by his belongings, writing in his diary and engaging with airport staff and travelers. In 2006, Nasseri was hospitalized, finally ending his long stay at the airport. He later lived in a Paris shelter, before returning to the airport in 2022, where he would spend his final days, before dying of a heart attack in the same terminal. His unique situation inspired several works, most notably the 2004 film The Terminal, directed by Steven Spielberg and starring Tom Hanks. How rare is your body? First, only 11% of people have naturally curly hair. So if you fall into any of these groups, consider yourself rare. Now, comment on which ones you have. Second, less than 3% of people have an X on their palms, which is considered a sign of strong character. Third, only about 33% of people can actually whistle, and unfortunately, I'm not one of them. Fourth, 14% of people don't have a palmaris longus muscle. This is the muscle that stands out when you flex your hand like this. Fifth, only 16% of people can produce a high-pitched noise with their jaw. They can control a muscle that most people can't, and it creates a loud sound. Sixth, 33% of people have astigmatism. This makes lights appear blurry and distorted, like in this photo. Seventh, less than 6% of people can vibrate their eyes and shake them rapidly back and forth. And do you have any of these characteristics? Or do you know someone who has any? And which of these characteristics do you think is the rarest?
Here are some pictures that broke the internet. Up first is this cheerleader who pooped while she was performing a stunt. This picture broke the internet and went viral everywhere. But surprisingly enough, it was actually fake and somebody photoshopped it. Next is this mugshot of a man that had women going crazy. And the photo went so viral that when he got out of prison, he got a full-time modeling job. Next is this picture of a dress. People either see white and gold or black and blue, and people can't tell the actual color of this dress. Now the question becomes, what colors do you see?
They were so hungry that they ate her with potatoes.
Yeah.
16-year-old Karina was dating 20-year-old Maxim, who was the lead singer of his band. She was so in love with him that she would sneak around to see him so that her mom wouldn't catch her. On the specific day, Karina told her mom that she was going to spend the night at a friend's house so that she could study. Her mom told her it was fine, but she had to be back the next morning by 7 a.m., but sadly this wasn't the case. On this specific night in January of 2009, Maxim and his friends decided to have a party, and Karina wanted to spend the night. One of Maxim's roommates, Ekaterina, noticed that Maxim and Karina went to the bathroom together while she was going to her room to go to sleep. After a while, she started to hear splashes of water and noise, but she didn't think too much of it. A while later, Ekaterina woke up and decided she was going to go check on them to make sure that they were okay, and when she was walking to the bathroom, another friend named Yuri told her that she wouldn't want to go in there. She figured that nothing serious was going on, so she just went back to bed. The next day, Ekaterina arrived home from work, and Maxim and Yuri offered her meat with potatoes. She ate her meal and didn't have any complaints. This meat wasn't some kind of ordinary meat, it belonged to Karina. The night before, Maxim and Yuri put Karina in the bathtub and drowned her. Once she was deceased, they chopped her up, cooked her meat, and prepared it as a meal. Eventually, Maxim and Yuri were caught, and once they were interrogated on why they even did this, they stated it was because they were drunk and hungry. The rest of Karina's body parts were placed in plastic bags and scattered around the city. Both Maxim and Yuri were arrested and charged with Karina's murder.
You're totally right. With the big cup, I gotta do a lot more than 6 facts. So, fun facts until the Orbeez overflow. If you met every person on Earth for just 1 second, it would take you 250 years to meet everyone. Without saliva, you cannot taste your food. 8% of people have an extra rib. The sentence, "wow, you are cool," is taken as sarcasm 95% of the time. You would have to scream for 8.5 years to produce enough energy to heat a cup of tea. Chocolate contains phenylethylamine, which is the same chemical your brain releases when you fall in love. It's actually possible to die of a broken heart. Bananas are a natural sleep aid considering they contain melatonin. Your heart pumps about 2,000 gallons of blood a day. Most lipstick contains fish scales, and it looks like I'm out of time. Follow for more fun facts.
Breaking news, 5 arrests have been made in the death of actor Matthew Perry, including 2 doctors, his assistant, and the ketamine queen. Perry revealed his decades-long struggle with addiction in his 2022 memoir, Friends, Lover, and the Big Terrible Thing, and how he was prescribed Vicodin after a jet ski accident on a film set in 1997. Eventually, Perry was taking up to 55 pills per day. In 2023, Perry was receiving ketamine infusions for anxiety and depression, but soon slipped back into his addiction and started getting it illegally as well. And that's when 2 medical doctors started providing him the drug off the record. One of the doctors that's been arrested wrote, quote, "I wonder how much this moron will pay, and let's find out." For a vial that cost them $12, they were charging Perry thousands of dollars. Perry eventually sought out a new source because of these expenses, one of them being Jasveen Sangha, known as the ketamine queen, who's also been charged in connection with another man's overdose back in 2019. On October 23rd of last year, Perry was found face down in his hot tub. He died as a result of acute effects of ketamine and drowning. Shortly after this, the defendants tried to cover up their involvement by deleting text messages and apparently forging medical records. Authorities say the ketamine queen sold the drug to Perry's assistant, Kenneth Iwamasa, who injected Perry the day he died, and the syringe was provided by Dr. P, who sold drugs to Perry in the past. 2 defendants, including Perry's assistant, have pleaded guilty to charges already, and a third has agreed to plead guilty. Dr. P and the ketamine queen could face life in prison.
This is a true horrifying story about the most dangerous game to play. And no, it is not the Ouija board. This game is called the Corners game. People sent me a podcast video of 2 guys explaining how it's done. I've heard of this game a while ago, but since people are talking about it now, I'd love to step in. I genuinely warn you from playing this game, because it is extremely dangerous whether it was done right or wrong, and it does involve summoning an evil presence. Even if I didn't explain to you guys how it's done, you guys are probably gonna Google it either ways. The Corners game is a summoning ritual. In Islam, it is equivalent to practicing black magic. You need 4 participants, no additional players are allowed in the room. A room with 4 corners, no more, no less. All the lights in the room must be switched off. All players must enter the room one by one, speaking their name out loud 3 times. One principal is appointed as the speaker. The speaker stays in the middle of the room, and the remaining 3 players must pick a corner each and face the wall. The door should be shut, and when everyone is inside, no one is allowed to speak. When everyone is in position, the speaker counts to 3. And on 3, all participants must rotate clockwise to the next corner. Now there are 4 other procedures that I don't wish to explain further. But throughout the game, remember, there's always one empty corner. Now people say that one of the principals may disappear. But one thing for sure, an entity in the shape of a figure will appear in one of the corners. There is an emergency procedure of calling your name backwards, but I don't know if that will avoid getting you injured. A group of guys from Japan have played this game. No one disappeared in thin air after the game was done. However, one of the players never seemed the same after playing this game. During their 3rd rotation, they saw a figure move in one of the empty corners. The figure is a jinn, and jinns feed off from empty corners. That is what we know of them in Islam. In households, jinns camp in corners, ceilings, or even toilets. The player that is in most fear will be possessed. And the player that was possessed from playing this game passed away a couple of years later. They were all young men in their late 20s. Sometimes dangerous rituals are commercially sold as games, such as the Ouija board. But they are just dangerous portals. You are literally creating a portal from the Jinn world to your own room by playing such games. I didn't even explain how the game is done. If you Google the rest of the procedures, that's your responsibility. Stay away.
She was live streaming when someone took her life.
Ya viene.
23-year-old Valeria Marquez was a beauty influencer and she owned her own beauty salon in Zapopan, Mexico. Just a couple of days ago, on May 13th, Valeria was out doing a medical procedure when her employee Erica spoke with her to tell her that someone had stopped by the salon to deliver her something. They weren't able to deliver it because they wanted confirmation that Valeria had received it. At this point, Valeria is confused because she wasn't expecting a package, but she just heads to the salon anyways. Erica then tells her that's fine because the guy that was delivering the package was going to be back in an hour. Once Valeria is back at the salon, she hops on her live. As she's on live, she starts saying how she's very uncomfortable and has this weird feeling, and then starts asking what the guy looked like and what he was driving. Weirdly enough, during the live, she had also said, "Oh my god, what if this person is going to try and take my life?" half serious and half joking. She's already starting to feel suspicious about this whole delivery. Valeria then decides she's just going to leave and doesn't want to wait around anymore, but her friend Viviana was also watching her live and she texts her saying, "Please stay because I want to see your reaction when you get this delivery." Her friend then sends her a Starbucks and a stuffed animal, and at this point Valeria seems more at ease. Moments later, Valeria is looking towards the front door and says, "Oh, here he comes." A man approaches her and says Valeria, and then she mutes the live. Seconds later, that man shoots her 1 time at the chest and 2 times in the head. She then drops forward and her head hits the table. Valeria's phone isn't picked up by a woman, and many are speculating that this person is Erica, but we are not 100% sure yet, and when she looks at the phone, she has no reaction whatsoever and she ends the live. Since this just happened this week, there is a full investigation going on who could have done this to Valeria. Now, authorities may have a suspect, and this suspect is a man that goes by the name LRR. Allegedly, that man and Valeria were romantically involved for several months, and he is said to be a very dangerous person. Apparently, he didn't like when Valeria would go live and receive gifts from her followers, so this was his gift to her. As of right now, nothing has been confirmed or denied. This is all just speculation that's going on right now. Rest in peace to Valeria. Hopefully she gets the justice that she deserves, and let me know what you guys think about this case.